right, everybody. Welcome to the season debut of High Velocity Racing League. Tonight we're going to be having the rookie trucks. Season debut of High Velocity Racing League. Tonight we're going to be having the racing here at Daytona. Now tonight's race is just going to be seating position for the quote-unquote 500, if you will. So not an actual points race tonight, just going to be seating for the main race. It looks like we've got about 35, 36, 37, 38, about 40 entries so far. So stacked field tonight. I'm looking forward to it.
Mr. Fontaine, how are we doing today?
Oh, ask me that question in about, I don't know, an hour or so, and a half maybe-ish.
Yeah, 10-4.
No, I think we got a stacked field tonight, so that's going to go one or two ways. We got a lot of people that are a little bit newer to iRacing as a platform in general, and new to oval racing, so that's all I can really say.
Yeah, we got a lot of rookies out there for sure, but we got a ton of drivers out there as well that we had with us last season. So it's going to be a good mix. You're going to have a lot of, I wouldn't say veteran drivers, but a lot more skilled drivers out there that I'm sure will be out front. And then you got a good mix of rookies that'll probably be towards the back, but eventually they're going to mix up, and I'm sure that we're going to have some mix-ups.
Yeah, well, and I want to comment on that. You said that the experienced drivers are going to be towards the front. What about there's a possibility of the experienced drivers making their way towards the rear, actually, trying to dodge all the calamity and chaos that I'm sure we're going to endure tonight?
I could see that happening. With a field like this, though, I mean, we got 40 plus drivers out there. Anything 30 plus, I'm usually trying to hang out at the front. If I can get up there, which usually I can. I don't mind hanging out in the back if there's like 15 to 20 drivers or something, but once you start getting these big fields, it doesn't matter how far back you hang off. If there's going to be a calamity, it's going to collect you.
Yeah, I mean, again, with a field this size, there's not a whole lot of room to really miss things that happen. I mean, of course, you can make it happen, but I have a good feeling that until some of these fast repairs inevitably get taken out, there's probably going to be nowhere to go for these drivers during these accidents. I mean, every caution tonight has the potential of being the quote-unquote big one that we hear of so often. And I mean, we all are kind of expecting that, I would say. I mean, hopefully it's not that way, but again, 40 drivers at a track like Daytona, not only that, 40 drivers that are new to the platform and new to racing around each other in general. So I'm hoping for the best, but I'm under the realization that we may very well have a lot of chaos tonight.
Yeah, Daytona is one of the biggest tracks we have on the radar here on the schedule, but it can get filled up really quick with 40 plus drivers, especially if there's a wreck. You got the high banking in the corners. These guys are doing 200 miles an hour. If there's going to be a big one, it's going to be a traffic jam real quick. It'll turn into the DC Beltway.
Yeah, it's going to be that lake effect snow up there in Pennsylvania. There's a good possibility that our track may look like that tonight. But again, hopefully not. But we got about 2 minutes here left in practice before we do get into the qualifying here. Now, I want to ask you, I know we have some returning drivers from last season, and a majority of these guys are newer to the series, but any few people or one person or anybody that you may have your eye on tonight to try to make a run?
There was actually a few of them. If I had to pull out just a few, I mean, honestly, I'm looking at Sean. He should have won quite a few last season. So I'm looking for him to make some moves tonight. Let's see. We got Nava out there. KT's really good. Parker Weekly's new to the league, but he's been racing for quite a while. So you got some good names out there. Those are the ones I'm looking to see up front towards the end, as long as they can stay out of trouble. Who knows? We might get surprised. It might be somebody we wouldn't even think about. This is Daytona. Anything can happen.
You know, you are correct, and you could have a guy lead 34 laps, but 34 laps don't matter if you don't lead the last one, and we've seen that very often at the super speedway. So I mean, again, you mentioned just about every name that I would have on my radar. As we see here, we got this little foursome on the track here with KT leading it, but I'm looking at KT. I'm looking at Randy Cornwell. We saw the race the other day that we did. These two were hooked up pretty good, working pretty well together. I know those are two teammates, and I'm sure KT here is looking to get himself up on the scoreboard here and trying to get a win in that column. And again, returning guys like Justin Nava representing Hyperdrive well. He's a guy that really showed his prowess last season as well. So a lot of good names up here. Sean seems to have a target on his back at these super speedways, as some people that just seems how the luck draws. But Sean is another guy that I'm looking out for. If he can get some good help from his teammates that are in this race, he has a pretty good opportunity of being there at the front when it matters as well. So we'll see what happens, but 35 laps, a lot could happen.
Yeah, and I mean, as much as you have teammates out there, it's great to have them at super speedways. But sometimes they're towards the end. They may not be there at the end with you. Either they got wrecked out, or they're just at the back and not able to make a move with you. So you got to make friends out here instead of enemies real quick. Otherwise, towards the end, you may not have any help at all.
Yeah, and that's very important at a track like Daytona. Again, I mean, another layer that we keep alluding to, but I feel like to this point, it kind of almost has to be brought up. The guys that were here last season, I would say, actually do have just a slight advantage over some of these newer guys joining. Right? If I'm a Justin Nava or KT or Sean, and I get around any one of you guys, I'm looking to work with you because I know that I can trust you. If I'm some of these newer guys coming in, you're almost everybody's kind of having to prove themselves to each other, right? In terms of, hey, I can get my way to the front, I can hold a line, I can make the right move at the right time when needed. A lot of those guys have yet to prove themselves here in that regard, and to no fault of their own. So maybe some of these returning guys can get hooked up, even if they're not necessarily sanctioned teammates. Again, trust is a big thing at a super speedway.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, I did the same thing last season. I'm sure you did too. We had drivers out there that weren't our teammates, but we knew who we could run with and who to stay away from. Whether they were teammates or not, we would, get that figured out real quick. Tonight's, even though it's just kind of a lineup for the actual Daytona race next week, it's a good way to practice with one another, get the feel for each other, and 40 plus drivers on the track. This is nothing like the off-season practices we were having where there was only 15 to 20. So it's going to be real interesting out there tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And you gotta think there's gonna be some guys, returning and new that are just looking to make a name for themselves in this league, right? I mean, this is a league that is tailored towards rookies. We have a lot of beginners, we have a lot of guys that are green here and have really no experience over racing or even on iRacing as a platform in general. So, we'll see what these guys can do. We'll see if, these guys crack under the pressure too, right? Because again, looking to prove yourself, looking to be here and make it, make your name a staple in the series. I mean, that is pressure that can build up, and at a track like Daytona, where again, you mentioned it, 190 to 200 miles an hour around the whole track, and 2 and 3 wide, and sometimes 4 wide at Daytona. Which, if we get to 4 wide, I hope everybody holds on tight. But not a lot of room for error, and one truck spins, and that could be the whole field gone in flames.
Yeah, let's hope we don't get 4 wide. Not towards the beginning, anyways. It's something I would definitely pull off towards the last lap or two, but 4 wide anytime before that, even 3 wide's kind of sketchy here. This isn't Dega, obviously, but it's got a little bit of a shorter width to it here at Daytona versus Dega. But you can get 4 wide, but you're going to be door to door, and these guys are not ready for that yet. Again, I wouldn't pull it off until probably the last lap or two, because at that point, it's records or checkers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not looking to make a move like that unless I know without a shadow of a doubt that it's not going to screw me. I mean, again, not a points race, but seating and track position is very important at a track like this. And where you start could be, I mean, really the beginning or the end of your race. I mean, ideally, you would like to be up front. I mean, I know that sounds pretty standard and something that sounds pretty obvious, but especially at a track like this, I mean, really nobody's safe anyway. Rather you're the first truck in line or you're at the rear. But generally, the top tend to rise together, and you maybe have a little bit more trust as we see KT with his first lap take the pole. For now, we'll see if that holds up. But if you're starting, middle of the field in the Hornets' nest, I mean, you may not have very many options if a big one happens.
Yeah, from what I'm seeing, pretty much the whole hyperdrive team is laying back and deciding not to qualify, which could be a good idea. They're all going to be probably towards the back with each other and helping each other out, try to stay out of the big one, like you were mentioning. And we got other guys that are taking the other route and trying to get that top line. But you're right, the guys right in the middle. I hope everybody can hang on to it and we get some good racing tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. As we see Bryce Tucker spinning out on the track here, hope everything happened well. Trying to hop on board with some of these guys getting their qualifying runs. But so far, I mean, some of the names that we mentioned at the top of the broadcast have made their way at least towards the front. Maybe they're not necessarily at the front, but they're leaning towards it. I mean, again, we see KT with the pole. Mike grabs his second place spot if everything holds true. Corey Moore, a name that's new to the series, but Randy Post, another name new to the series, and Randy Cornwell rounding out the top 5 thus far. And then again, another staple name with Andre and Sean right behind them in 8th. And I'm curious to see what's going to happen here. I know that Dustin and Sean are teammates, and it looks like they're going to be starting side by side between 7th and 8th. So I think they'll be side by side. I don't exactly remember how that works on the grid, but nonetheless, they're going to be looking to find each other and work together. So,
Yeah, I believe Andre's right there with Sean as well for teammates.
oh yeah, absolutely. So we'll see what happens. It looks like qualifying is over. So what I'm going to do really quick, guys, I'm going to go ahead and head on into the race chat, give these guys some words of encouragement before we get this thing started off, and I will be back here shortly. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We have given these guys some time to get loaded up on the grid here. Let's go ahead and pull up our starting grid really quick before these trucks get moving and get underway here. It looks like we've got KT is going to be rounding out the first place spot on the pole. He's going to be starting on the inside line with another household name here in the series. We got Mike Kufel starting on the outside row next to him. Third place here behind KT, we've got Corey Moore, and then rounding out on his outside, we've got the number 54 of Randy Post. In the fifth place spot, we got KT's teammate, Randy Cornwell. He's going to be in the fifth place spot again on the inside row. And then on the sixth place spot, on the outside, we've got Andre Carvalho, Dustin Bloodworth, and Sean Happiak going to be in the fourth row there. Teammates there again. We'll see how that plays out. Jason Arbel and Tim Clements. Clements going to be rounding out your top 10. So we'll see how these guys get to it. We'll see if these guys can keep it clean and 35 laps tonight. And let's see if we can't get our pole sitter in here for an interview. As we have a little bit of delay here with Discord being a little funky. There we are. Hey, KT, this is Bryce up here in the booth. You got a copy on us?
Yeah, 10-4. I was talking to my teammate. Sorry about that.
Oh, no, not a problem at all. Well, congratulations on the pole, first and foremost. We expect a little bit of chaos tonight. What you got any strategy to try to stay up towards the front, or what are you thinking for this race tonight?
Yeah, not let anybody pass me.
Yeah, sounds like a good plan. Will, you got anything for him before we let him get back in?
Not at all, man. Good job. I mean, 40-plus drivers out there. Heck of a lap. Good luck on the race. Stay clean, and hopefully nobody can pass you. Good luck to the end.
Yep, thank you. The whole goal is to try to just ride around and get a good start spot for the 500 next week.
There you go. Well, like Will said, good luck to you. We'll let you get back to your teammates, and we'll see you maybe here at the end of the race for an interview. Good luck to you.
10-4. Thank you.
All right, we see the pace car coming around turn 4 here. Going to be making a hard dive to the left here in just a moment. The first restart here is going to be on the green flag, so it'll be about towards the end of the Geico restart zone. These guys will be taking off, and here we see green flag at Daytona for the first race of Season 2 in high velocity racing. Let's see what these boys can do. See a little bit of movement up front. Nothing too crazy so far. Bottom line gets rolling here a little bit. It takes the outside line just a little bit longer to get some momentum going, having a long way around the track. But nonetheless, if everybody stays organized, we should see a pretty decent run here on the high line down the backstretch. And there we see the number 9 and Mike Kufel trying to get up to the quarter panel, try to get these guys slowed down into the corner.
Yeah, KT's holding that line right at the bottom. He's doing what he said he was going to do. He's going to make sure nobody can pass him, but that high line is moving pretty good. Looks like they might come up on him on the start-finish line here. I prefer myself that top line, so we'll see if that thing can get anywhere.
And KT leading that first lap, so good to get a lap under his belt, regardless of it being a super speedway or not. But yeah, so far everybody's keeping it clean. No real incidents or accidents up to this point. Hopefully the caster curse does not come into effect here, but we see that bottom line starting to work. Really the first 3 cars there in line with the 95 of KT, the 45 of Corey Moore, and the 22 of Randy Cornwell hooking up pretty good together, not too far distance apart. And I mean, really right now it kind of looks like we've got a 3v2 as far as guys looking to really make a move. But that high line, I mean, if they can get hooked up and get the momentum and keep it smooth, they can definitely make a run here. Now, let me ask you, if you're the 9 car on the outside here, okay, you're the first car on the outside line, what are some things that you can do to make sure that you at least stay towards the front or even make some of these guys on the bottom lose some momentum?
I mean, he's doing exactly what I'd be doing, maybe a little bit closer, but it is early in the race still. But me personally, I like getting door to door. I put that driver door right on that outside door of the guy below me, try to take that air out from under him and get a good boost on there. Honestly, if he wasn't clear. 9 car came down on KT.
Yep, and there's the big one. First caution of the night. That's going to collect just about everybody there. That is a huge crash.
Yeah, that took out about half the field right there, if not more.
and they're still wrecking. Let's hop on board here with Mike, because we just missed it on the broadcast, but let's go ahead and hop on board with Mike and see just exactly what happened. Yeah, and as you mentioned, hashtag not clear. Mike airborne again, as we've seen several times here in high velocity racing, able to keep all fours on the ground at least, but nonetheless, there is the first big one at Daytona, and that's how quick things can change here.
Yeah, unfortunately, that 9 car, he must have thought he was clear, and there's a possibility maybe the spotter did tell him that, but by the time he started to make a move down there, it was already too late. That's exactly how quick things can happen here. You can be clear, and then the millisecond later, that nose on that bottom line is right out on you.
Yeah, I mean, getting hooked here like that, not very much you can do. See a couple of these guys torn up. We see the 51 of Alex Nuz on Team Hyperdrive. He's got some damage on the right front, and we see, I think that's I don't know who that is, maybe somebody crab walking down the in the turn there. There you go. We got the 60 of Brad Doer. He's I don't know if that's a little bit of lag or what, but he is crab walking pretty hard down the backstretch there. So that's going to be a lot of fast repairs tonight that are going to be off the board already this early, and not something you really want to see. But it looks like maybe the top 8 or 9 guys may be able to keep that clean and stay towards the front and miss the big one. But for some of these guys in the back that had to use their fast repair, they're going to have to really prioritize making sure that they stay clean so they can do that at the end when it matters. Yeah, we see quite a few cars here in pit road as we speak. Couple more diving down here, but we got up a good 3 3/4 of a lap taken care of there before anything real interested happened. So we expected it was going to happen at some point. We didn't know how early or how late it was going to be, but nonetheless, the big one did happen and took quite a few cars out. But that is part of super speedway racing, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it didn't take long at all. I was actually hoping for a neater race there, but a lot of people have used up their quick repairs, so I don't know, maybe people will be a little bit more careful. It is super speedway racing, even a slight issue can happen, and for it to happen on the front row, that's how everything got bottled up. It happened right on the front row, and everybody behind had nowhere to go. So we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've got it pulled up here on my secondary monitor. It looks like the top 13 are the only guys that haven't stayed out. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean they don't have any damage, but nonetheless, top 13 guys stay out, and looks like Parker Weekly and Justin Nava were both 2 of those guys that were able to stay out. So even if they do have damage, it doesn't look like it's race ending or fast repair worthy as of yet. Everything looking pretty clear. And then a couple spots behind him, we've got the 51 of Alex Nuz, but we see him diving back down pit road. So hopefully everything is good to go with him there. And yeah, I mean, we've got to the limit. We've tested it, as we see some pretty substantial damage there on the 51 in the right front. We'll see again if he elects to use that fast repair or just try to get that damage clean. But a lot of guys here, I mean, really knocked out of the race. Maybe they didn't have their fast repair selected or what, but a couple guys 5 laps down already, it seems like. So, or maybe they just didn't start the race. But nonetheless, we've now got to our limit and seen what that limit is. So hopefully we can keep it clean for the rest of the race, or if not a good majority, and try to get some green flags turned here.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting for sure. I'm sure everybody's a little more on edge now. So, I mean, in the back of your mind, you know you got that quick repair. You might be pushing the limit here and there. Now with the quick repair gone for probably half the field, if not possibly even more. I think everybody's going to be a lot more careful, a lot more give and take here. So it might even be a cleaner race from here on out. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, again, a lot of guys are now, I mean, if they weren't already I mean, they're going to be in survival mode even more so than ever, right? I mean, by nature, you kind of don't have that much of a choice. I mean, fast repair down. I mean, you may be able to get collected in some incidents. You know, not that that's ideal, but you know, hopefully it's not race ending. But we'll see what these guys can do on board here with KT. Truck looks pretty clean thus far. We do see the lights are off on the pace car, so looks like we're going to be going green flag racing this time by, and still got some staple names up front. We see the number 95 with KT, the number 19 of Andre, and number 52 there of Sean Happick. They're all running smooth, and that's 3 teammates right there between the 19, the 52, and the 4. So if they can get hooked up, they may be looking to make some moves here towards the front. Trucks enter the Geico restart zone here. Green flag back in the air at Daytona. Let's see if we can get some more laps under our belt here and get some green flag racing. But we see KT gets a really good start on the outside line, maybe even too good of a start, or maybe the 93. You can argue not having a great start, but that's going to hurt that outside line. And there's a potential that KT may get hung out to dry if they let Knock to pick him up here.
Yeah, see, if right here is, if I was in KT's position, I'd be putting my driver door right on the outside of that second place guy down low. Don't necessarily have to do it on the front stretch, but in the corner, it's good to be right down there as tight as you can to try to pick up some of that side draft. These trucks love the side draft.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you mentioned, that's a great way that these drivers can kind of minimize that gap. I mean, you know, again, as you mentioned earlier on the broadcast, you know, if I'm the guy on the outside here, I want to squeeze these guys down here in the middle of the corner, really close off their exit. And then once we get going straight again, you want to make a shift, just maybe a half a lane up, just like, I mean, K2 almost executing it perfectly, just to avoid that side draft, because the side draft does work both ways. But if you catch it at the right time and get that momentum working, you can really make some ground up on that inside line.
I mean, he's got nobody really helping him on his backside there. The guy behind him isn't really doing any pushing or anything, so he is keeping up with the draft pretty good on them low guys. And now that I said that, now we got a little push going on.
It looks like we got
outside.
a wreck going on in the back here. A couple cars around, driving down to the inside. We see the 12 of Christopher Dyke involved. We see 86 involved here of Jason Arbor involved here as well. Let's go back here. I kind of saw it there on the broadcast, but let's try to get a closer look here and see what happens. Coming off of turn 2 here. See the number 30 of Aaron Creighton off 3 wide and just left hooks the 86 there. Unfortunate, but it looks like kind of on his onboard here, it kind of looks like that car on the outside was a little slow, made a little bit of a jive, and Aaron was just trying to dodge him, and unfortunately had a car on his inside, and around they went. And you can see that 51 of Alex Nuss getting collected again. Man, he's just not had any luck this season, but luckily season's just starting, so really can only go up from here, I guess, if you're him, right? I mean, that's one key thing that you can look forward to, considering the fact that you would think it can't get much worse.
Yeah, sorry, Bryce. I'm doing a little bit of race control here, trying to figure things out. Yeah, it's pretty rough. I mean, we've been 2 cautions already, and I don't know, what are we, 10 laps in, not even 9 laps in. Well, I mean, again, people are just feeling each other out. First time being on the track with one another. We'll get it figured out here. This is just a qualifying race, so hopefully by the 500 we get it cleaned up a little bit.
Absolutely. As we bring Sean here in the booth. Sean, first and foremost, I haven't seen yet if you were collected in that last wreck. Everything still good?
Everything is good, man. I was lucky. It happened in front of me, but really, they were going to let me in down low, my 2 teammates, but there wasn't really enough time. I'm really glad I didn't get in that, because I'm pretty sure I would have got collected in that. Just missed it.
Well, that's good to hear, and that's what I wanted to mention. You know, really wasn't able to get that run even really started, but we were talking there on the broadcast that you had 2 of your teammates lined up there in close proximity. We're hoping you guys were able to make a run, but I mean, from the in car, I mean, anything you seeing out there tonight that is scaring you a little bit? Or, I mean, you know, 2 cautions already, but you got a subtle game plan in mind here, trying to get to the end of this thing?
Oh, well, we really been debating on whether to pit or not, but I think we just decided to stay out because we don't want to be back there. So we're going to see what we can get. I think we have to make it another 6 laps, then we can pit. So we're banking on another caution here in the next 6-7 laps.
Got you, 10-4. Well, yeah, man, good luck to you. It looks like you've been able to keep all 4 wheels on the track thus far and, you know, keep it clean. Hopefully that good luck continues, and maybe we'll see you here at the bottom of the broadcast, and maybe we'll be interviewing you in the top 3 or potentially even with a win.
Well, I hope to talk to you again.
All right, well, we'll get you back in your channel. Good luck to you, and 21 to go. Let's see what we can do here.
Thank you. All right. What do y'all have left on fuel?
Hey, you're still in here. I'm working on it. Hold on.
Oh.
No, I had a notification blocking me. There you go. All right, there you go. Sean's back in there. So thanks to Sean coming on board here and doing a little mid-race interview. As again, we can see maybe these drivers are getting close to their fuel windows here. We'll see if that does have an effect. I doubt that we get into green flag stop territory at any point in this race, but that would be an interesting thing if we do get there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't foresee any green flag pit stops on this one. Again, you know, with the quick repairs gone, you know, we'll see if it cleans up at all. Also, you know, it is a qualifying race, so it's a non-points race. That's kind of probably in the back of people's minds as well, to where they're like, you know, we're going to push a little bit, give and take, not so much, you know. We'll see what happens. Again, they're just filling each other out, and new guys out on the track. There's 40 plus drivers. I mean, things are going to happen. So hopefully we get these last what is it, 19 laps ago. Hopefully the last 19 will be green. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And we see it looks like we may have a couple guys that are at least down a lap, maybe some potential retirements here already. So, you know, not what we want to see, but again, we kind of mentioned that this is something that was a possibility here tonight, but nonetheless, nothing that we've seen has been too egregious up to this moment in time. I mean, just small little subtle mistakes, and at a track like this, those small little subtle mistakes are magnified. So I think guys now are starting to get each other figured out here more so. Hopefully we can try to calm things down a little bit and just get some green flag racing under our belt here. And good news here, it looks like the 51 of Alex Nuz is still out on the track, so maybe he didn't use that fast repair the first time and was able to use it here. But yeah, I mean, nothing too egregious, just small mistakes. Again, pace car rounding off turn 4 here, going to make that standard hard left turn here in iRacing. Making his way down the pit road as the leaders are going to be going into their Geico restart zone. We'll see what lane here can get a good start and get the momentum and look to make a run.
Yeah, it looks like KT is still up there. He's holding his ground up on the high line anyways. So we'll see what happens. He got a pretty good start here at the beginning, and looks like he's going to get a little nose on that 54, so we'll see what's up.
Yeah, we'll see if he elects to stay at the top or try to work his way down to the bottom.
Now we got another caution out.
Yep, I do see that already here. Multiple cars involved here again. On board here with number 12 and Christopher Dyke. Oh, looks like a potential misshift or something up front there. We'll have to hop on board and try to take a look and see just exactly who that was. We see that bottom line gets checked up. Right?
Looks like the 58.
Is that the 58 or the 55? Yeah, the 55 it looks like of Craig Nagy. I'm not sure if he was exactly the culprit, but that is right around where things started to happen.
Yeah, it looks like a misship up above him. What do we got here? Stacks up right around the 60, 48, 9, 75, and then it just backs up from there. 58's the one that got hit from behind and spun out down into the pits.
Actually, yep, no, there we go. As we see looking back here from the 55. Yeah, just a misshift, and you know, that's how fast, again, we've mentioned it tonight, how quickly things happen here, and one misshift at a restart and guys get bundled up, and that's inevitably going to happen. Well, third caution of the night so far. Just small mistakes. I mean, that's going to be probably the theme of tonight. And KT may be looking to make a little bit of a gamble here with Randy Post. Maybe some fuel strategy coming involved. We heard Sean talking about it there, where they were hoping for another caution. So KT may be hoping for that same thing. I don't know that he's going to be able to make it the full distance here, but if he can get some green flag runs here and then we get another caution, he might be sitting in good shape. But I mean, seeing all those guys pit behind me, if I'm KT, I'm probably wanting to get involved on that and pit as well, because the last thing I want is to stay out and get stuck in the hornet's nest, because we've seen that there's been some trouble back there tonight. So we'll see how that plays out for him. A couple guys here leaving and entering pit road here, getting their repairs done and getting topped up on Sunoco race fuel. We see the 3 car of Parker Weekly going to be leaving his box. We also see that his teammate there in the 15 of Justin Alva sitting in pit road. Hopefully all is well there. And yep, it looks like he is leaving, so no terminal damage there on the 15. See Kenan Cook pretty torn up here in his box. Alan Ayers making his exit off pit road. 31 of Matthew Chase on pit road as well. He's going to be exiting his box. So a couple guys, looks like they're going to be finishing up some repairs here. Lights are still on the pace car, so we should be coming to 1 to go this time by, if I am correct. Some solid runs out of some of these guys, though. Some of it may be on pit strategy alone here, but we see Clint Hackett here in the 9th place spot. He's up 26 spots. We see Trey Young in the 77. He's up 30 spots from where he started, and the 93 of Thomas Long, he's up 28 spots. So partly due to strategy, maybe on some accord there, but nonetheless, 55 of Craig Nagy, he's up 29 spots as well. So some pretty big movers tonight, but we also have some big movers in the other direction. You see the 13 of David Meacham, he's actually down 23 spots. The 86, Jason Arble, he's down 24. So a couple guys involved in some chaos here tonight, but nonetheless, lights are off on the pace car, so we will be going green flag racing this time by. KT still has really yet to leave that front row, and looks like he had the edge on the 54 of Randy Post at the time of the yellow flag, so he's going to be taking back that pole position here on this restart. Some good looking trucks out there tonight, though.
Yeah, some of them are pretty scraped up, but yeah, I'd say there's a lot of colors out there, a lot of good looking trucks. 93 Thomas Long. I've always been a fan of the Bass Pro Shops paint schemes.
Yeah, pretty solid there. I like that kind of satin, matte, glossy kind of finish there that he has on there. I want to also give a shout out here to the number 75 in Dalton King. He's a local friend of mine. I actually got him into this league as well, and his scheme is a throwback to a race team that his family is a part of here at the Nashville Fairgrounds, short track racing, an homage to a team that they support there. So Dalton, glad to have you in here, man. And so far he's in 19th, so he's got a pretty good run up to this point, but we'll hop back on board with the number 95 here of KT McCann, as we're going to see that pace car make its signature dive down to pit road. And these trucks are going to be entering the Geico restart once again at Daytona. 16 laps to go. Green flag back in the air.
And a good jump for KT on the inside. He is already way out in front. 2 car lengths, maybe 3.
Yeah, and by the time that outside line gets hooked up here, as we actually see some guys from the outside making a dive down towards the bottom, by the time that outside road does catch up, they're going to have some pretty solid momentum. And the 22, even though he's having a little ghosting moment here behind the 93, that's a teammate there of KT. So, you know, Randy's going to be doing everything he can to try to help that 22 inevitably help that 95. And as I say that, the 22 hops up to the outside. 54 hops down in front of KT, looking to make his run here as we see them jockeying for that position here. The outside momentum here looking a little disorganized, but they'll be able to get that. But I mean, really, I say that the outside line's got a lot of cars closer together. We really see the top 4 on this outside, or excuse me, the inside line are pretty close together, but it looks like the 8 car there of Samuel Moser is backing off just a little bit, but gap's starting to close slightly.
Yeah, here comes the outside line with a good head of steam here, coming into, what is this, turn 1? But we're starting to move on the outside a little bit. I still don't think that everybody's hooked up quite enough yet to really make a real good move on that outside, but once we get closer to the end of the race here, I'm sure they'll be nose to tail.
Yeah, and for some of you guys that maybe aren't too familiar with Super Speedway Racing here, let's hop on board with number 28 of Clint Hackett, and let's get into his onboard view and see what this looks like in the Hornet's Nest. I mean, you can really see just how tight this racing is, and guys jockeying for every bit of position that they can get while still trying to manage, you know, their line. And you see guys kind of moving off that bottom line just a little bit here, and you know, I mean, there's a lot that can happen here very quickly if things don't go to plan. 185 miles an hour into turn 1 here. You see just bottom line here, just hold that yellow line, try to get as close to the truck in front of you as you can. Hop on board with the 75 of Dalton King here, halfway back to pack, and see a little bit of movement up top here. We see the 9 and the 19 working together, as we mentioned at the top. 2 guys that are familiar racing around one another. You can really hear the modulation of the throttle as well. You know, being in a pack like this, you would think that you might be able to just go flat out, but you really do have to manage the runs that you get with how fast the momentum moves here. We're back with the 54 of Randy Post in front of the field as of this moment.
Got a 3 wide going on up front for second position.
Oh, there it is, 3 wide. The 77 looks like he's hung out. He's probably going to filter back in line. No harm, no foul here. We'll see if the 95 elects to hop up in front of his teammate in the 22 of Randy Cornwell. Not yet. Looks like he's going to probably just try to wait for that outside line. Again, a little bit more momentum before he does hop up. A little bit of movement from both lanes, but so far so good. Everybody's keeping it clean. Again, knock on wood. Hopefully we don't jinx that. By we, I mean me, but some of these guys may be a little timid. As you mentioned, there definitely could be some tighter racing throughout the field, but I'm not too mad about it. Green flag laps are always great laps.
Yeah, we're going to have little 3 wide action here coming up. We're coming up on some pace cars, or lap cars here, so hopefully everything comes out clean with that. Lap cars are always at least 20 to 30 mile an hour off the top speed of these guys doing their drafting.
And that's
so
with no damage. If there's damage involved, that could be even more. We see one car diving down low to pit road here. I don't know if that's by design or maybe he got jockeyed out of position, but green flag's still in the air. We see him come up on this lap car. We'll see if he gets to the wall here and gets out of the way. It's going to be tight, but he does get up towards the wall.
Yeah, he tagged the wall just a little bit too, but we'll hope he stays clean.
Yeah, so far, so good. Looks like everybody's just going to manage to squeeze by here. Now he is at least tagging on to the draft a little bit, so he'll get a little bit more forward momentum than he did when the leaders got to him, but still going to be off pace. But still,
yeah, it looks like we got some guys getting ready to come in for pit road. I just got word the KT's team is going to be bringing him in.
10-4, so we'll hop on board with the KT, and we see 4 drivers here, 5, 6, 7 drivers coming down. We'll see how many of those were scheduled, and it looks like one car bows out there at the end. The 14's actually going to get spun around. The 75 gets spun around coming to pit road. So far, everybody is still green flag racing. We know that the pit road entry here can be very tricky.
Yeah, a little too much front brake bias. If you get on them brakes a little too hard, trying to slow down coming into pit road, you can easily spin her out. So sometimes you get tagged from behind, sometimes it's your own doing.
Yeah, and as I mentioned here before we went back to green flag racing, the 22 of Randy Cuomo stays out on the track, and those cars spinning down pit road, that's really going to hurt these guys that came in pit together. I mean, you saw about 7 or 8 cars dip down to pit road, and KT's coming out here pretty much by himself, so that's really going to hurt his run. He's going to be hoping for a caution here. I mean, we see the leaders now crossing the start-finish line, and KT's just going to be coming out onto the backstretch. So if this thing does stay green, KT's going to be in a really bad spot. The 14 getting a little sketchy moment, 3 wide, wrecking, and there's the caution.
Yeah, we got a wreck in the back.
Lap car kind of had a near Kevin LePage moment, and they were already kind of 2, 3 wide there, and maybe got a little spooked as we're hop on board here with the number 53 of
Yeah,
Chris
it looks
Winiger.
like the 4 car kind of pushed down the 53 a little bit onto the apron, and that's where we ended up with, I think, 4 wide positioning.
Yeah, nope, and you mentioned it there. The 4 car of Dustin Bloodworth just kind of squeezes the 53 down below the apron, and I mean, I get what Chris is trying to do, getting back up on the track, but just a kind of a sketchy rejoin there, and I mean, not to really too much fault of his own, but you know, that's going to do it. So that's going to be a huge break for KT there, and that may actually play out pretty well in his favor. It looks like it is scoring him a lap down potentially at the moment. Nope, he is on the lead lap. So based on the fuel window that we got, KT is going to be good to go towards the end. So that may cycle him back out, if not in the lead, towards the front for sure. Everybody catching back up to the pace car here. Hey, Mike, this is Bryce up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, buddy, how you doing?
Oh, man, well, being up here in the booth, I think I'm doing a little bit better than you are. A lot of stress out there, it looks like. But what was your point of view from that last caution? We saw that you kind of got caught up in it just a little bit. I mean, what did you see from your cockpit view there?
It was a little hard to tell. I don't know if it was looked like the 54, I'm not sure, but it was a blue truck, came down and looked like he doored the guy directly in front of me and shoved him down. Unfortunately, there happened to be a guy on the pit apron coming out, and he had to check up, and looks like calamity happened right after that. It's definitely a hair-raising moment there for sure.
Absolutely. Well, we saw you get into some trouble early on there with KT up towards the front. You know, fast repair may have been used there from you, but it looks like you got all 4 wheels on the ground still up to this point, and you're still trucking along. So we got about 7 laps to go here, it looks like. I mean, any specific game plan to try to get your way towards the front and stay there, or at this point, are you just hoping and praying for survival?
Yep. I'm going to take fuel right here to make sure I can get myself to the end. It seems like the high line seems to be having less problems. So I'm going to try to stay up there and see if we can't work our way towards the front.
Absolutely. Well, man, I appreciate you coming in, and we'll let you get back to pit road here, and good luck to you for the rest of the race.
Thank you, sir. You have a good one.
Yes, sir. You too. Good luck. Hopefully we see you on all 4s.
Looking forward to it.
All right. Yeah. And Mike, I mean, without the knowledge of what really happened, I mean, he kind of summed it up there pretty well. Just car in front of him gets squeezed down on the inside line. There's a lap car on the apron. Nowhere for the 53 of Chris Winiger to go, and gets caught up in it. But 6 laps to go here at Daytona. I mean, we had a pretty decent run there, all in all, considered what was going on. So hopefully we can repeat that here. And I mean, I think I saw behind the scenes that we may or may not have 15 green, white checkers allowed here tonight. So hopefully we don't get to that point in the race. But if we do, it would be entertaining tonight nonetheless. But probably a lot more stressful for these drivers if that's the case. We see the 64 of Hunter Jock. Going to be taking the first place spot here for now. Light's still on the pace car, so we should be coming to 1 to green this time by. But Dustin Bloodworth, a name that's been up towards the front for a majority of the race, so that's good to see. He's still riding clean, riding smooth up there. No issues out of him, this far. The 22 of Randy Cornwell, another name, been towards the front all night, so it's a solid run out of him so far. And KT is going to be cycled into the 12th place spot after that pit cycle there. So kind of question his decision at the last restart to stay out. And it looks like so far it's kind of biting him in the butt just a little bit, but 6 laps to go. Daytona coming to the end. A lot of things could happen. He may be all right. And we do see the lights off on the pace car. Guys are going to be lining up side by side, 2 wide here. See a couple guys here that couple laps down or potentially out of the race here with some terminal damage. It looks like we've got a couple retirements here. We see the 51 of Alex Nuz is going to be out of the race, as well as the 32 of Shyler Simpson. He's out. A couple laps down here for Daniel Quinn, as well as Kyle Wigglesworth, Ryan Lewis, Christopher Dyke, Patrick Cameron, and Aaron Creighton. A couple laps down, but it looks like I don't really know how to say his first name. I'm going to not even try. I'm just going to call him the Fry Man in the 14 truck. He's potentially the first car a lap down. I'll have to verify that, so he's going to be looking to make his way to that lucky dog spot. And it looks like we've got a couple of returning guys here in the chat. If you're still with us, I do appreciate it. Danny Gross, Bobby Grady, thank you guys for joining in and watching the broadcast as well. 5 to go here once the, well, be coming to 4 to go once the pace car dives down pit road and these trucks head into the Geico restart zone. So almost sort of kind of a green-white checkered a little bit, just shy of that, as some guys are looking to try to get their way back on the track. But Geico restart zone, green flag racing back at Daytona, 4 to go. We'll see what these drivers can do. 3 wide.
And we are
already.
3 wide already. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
3 wide already before the start finish line. The 64, a great restart, or potentially a poor restart out of the 21, but we'll see if that
And
helps or
there's the
hurt.
caution.
I see some movement on the scoreboard here. Didn't really see, yet to see any cars having too much damage. You got a copy potentially on potential corporate here? Because I'm not really seeing much.
Neither am I. Let's find out here.
I do have, I guess I do forget sometimes that I do have this program, and that should tell me what was going on.
Yeah, it looks like the 8 car got into the 30 truck a little bit, came up on his left rear.
Oh, yep, and I see the 53 in this frame.
I know the 30 was out there with some damage and couldn't go very well, and it looks like the 8 car might have actually came down and tagged the apron a little bit and then came up into the 30.
Caution prior to this. So I'm trying to get eyes on the last caution there. What car was that you mentioned again? I do apologize.
8 and 30.
The 8 and the 30. All right.
It looks like they were just coming into turn 1.
Gotcha. Yep. And we are going to be on board here. Go a little bit of rewind action. So we may get a rewind slow-mo of what happened here. Where is the 8 car? A lot of cars here on the grid. I don't see.
Yeah, if you can't find the 8, you can check for the 30.
Yeah, I had the 30, but it looks like he was blanking out just a little bit. here. Potentially. Well, I can't find it, but nonetheless, it's all good. We got your play-by-play.
Yeah, like I said, the 30 truck looked like he had some damage. I know he got caught up in a couple wrecks earlier, especially that big one, and he couldn't really get up to speed, and he just got kind of stuck in the middle. Looked like the 8 truck might have come down a little bit and caught the apron coming into 1, and when he did, he got loose, came up right back into the 30, and it was calamity from there. So once you catch that apron with the banking here at Daytona, if you catch it, no matter really what speed you're going on, your truck will not be leveled out right, and you will lose the rear end of the truck, and either spin out or come right back up into the group and take a lot of guys out. So that apron is dangerous.
Yep, and I actually was able to finally track it down, and yeah, I mean, we see the 8 does get down on the apron, and a slight bit of Nick code involved in that one as well, but nonetheless, getting down at the apron at these high speeds, and I mean, even getting the truck wound up, you know, it's hard to hold on to. It's very risky. So the fact that that wasn't bigger as a win, at least in itself.
Looks like this is a true green-white checkered here now. Hunter Waukes is actually leading with Dustin Bloodworth on the outside, Randy Cornwell, and Timothy Clements. Sean Hapwick are your top 5 right now. So you could be top 5 now, and a lap later you might be in the last place position. So we'll see what happens here, see if these guys can hang on. I do believe that our pole sitter, let's see if I can find him on the lineup here.
Yep, is listed in 28, so I don't know if he had to dive down pit road or, yeah, I mean, because I don't believe he was behind where that incident was. He was scored like 12th or 13th or somewhere around there before the caution came out. So I wonder if he took enough fuel just to get towards the end, and maybe the extended green-white checker put him in a little bit of a risky situation.
Yeah, being back there in 28th is definitely going to be fun for him. Not really, but hopefully he can make some move happen and see if he can get back up front here. I mean, anything can happen within 3 laps.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I got my eyes on the 15 of Justin Nava, the 3 here at Parker Weekly. Teammates on the outside row, about middle towards the rear of the field, so they might need a caution to get towards the front, but we'll see if these two can get hooked up and make a push towards the front here at the end. As we mentioned, green, white, checkered in true fashion here. A couple of them may be on the table tonight. Hopefully not, but I got my eye on the 52 here, Sean. I'm really wishing for a good run out of him. We see him 3rd car in line on the bottom, and I think right now the bottom is where I want to be. Usually a little bit safer in the event that something does happen. You have a little bit more room to make an evasive maneuver, but we'll see if that'll even come to play. Green flag in the air back at Daytona for hopefully the last time here tonight.
We got them stacking up right at the start-finish line.
Yep, and it looks like the 15 to Justin Nava involved, but still green flag racing.
Yeah. Oh, there's one on the infield there. Looks like no caution for that.
So as of right now, green flag still in the air here at Daytona. Sean makes his way to the outside. I know he's got a teammate there in the 4 car of Dustin Bloodworth, looking to see if they can make a run here on the outside and get their name here on the top of the High Velocity Racing League board. Oh, but that's something right there on the broadcast that I don't want to see if I'm on the inside line here. The number 11 car of Reed Sanders.
Oh, we got a turn up front, 21 and 77. Oh, this is big.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one. That is a big one. 86 sliding down, slight contact with the inside wall. Should be enough to keep him going at least. But let's hop on board here right with it. We see the 21 and the 77 already have a little bit of a tangle. We'll back this up just a little bit. 21 and 10 Clements on the outside row just gets an offset push from the 44, and the rest is history. That was the big one. So, if Justin Nava doesn't have a whole lot of damage, him getting involved in that little incident there at the front may have been the best thing to happen to him on that restart.
Let's go ahead and watch the in-car cam of the Parker Weekly, number 3, coming into that wreck.
10-4, we'll hop on board with Parker here in just a moment. Shades of Lightning McQueen, possibly?
Well, let's just say he found a gap and he took it.
Oh boy, yeah. I don't necessarily encourage that, but nonetheless kept his foot in it, and yeah, I mean, not quite as impressive as Lightning McQueen, but a close second nonetheless.
I mean, you're essentially possibly coming to the white flag, so who knows if that yellow is going to drop or not, and it could be your last lap. I guess I could feel where he was coming from for sure. I mean, if there was a lot of laps left, I wouldn't have done that, but with the potential of maybe coming to that white flag, which means there wouldn't be a yellow even if there was a wreck. Yeah, throttle down.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, not a points race, but high stakes here. And hopping on board here with 15 of Justin Nava, and his truck for the most part looks pretty clean. I mean, some slight damage on the front end here. Oh no, it looks like he might be toast here, but he does have a fast repair, so that's great news. He dives down pit road, checks that fast repair, and he's going to be back out there for what could potentially be 3 more laps here.
I'm actually listening to some of the driver chatter here, and we get another caution. Some guys might not have enough fuel to finish this. They might have to come in.
Yeah, and I wonder if
Looks like Hunter's still out in front with Randy Cornwall on the outside. Dustin, David, and Sean, again, top 5. That really hadn't changed from the last time, but let's see if we can get some green flag in here. Hopefully no more cautions, but again, if we do end up getting one, some drivers may not have enough fuel in their trucks to actually finish this.
And I wonder if that's something that inevitably affected KT. I mean, we saw him kind of get cycled towards the rear before that last caution, but he hasn't been able to make up any ground. I mean, he's up in 17th spot, so I guess a little bit up from where he was last time, but I would have figured that if he took enough fuel there when he elected to come down a little bit late, that he would have been fine on fuel, but apparently not. And I mean, I understand it, right? I mean, we've been in that situation where the less fuel you put in it, the less time you spend on pit road, especially under a green flag pit cycle here at Daytona, where the draft is very important. I mean, I don't necessarily blame him for that decision if that's what was made, but it's not worked out for him yet. But if the race goes the way it's been going, I mean, he's not out of this thing yet. I want to take this moment as well to thank you guys for joining in and being a part of what we got going on here. It shows 28 of you guys here in the chat. We greatly appreciate it, and we do race here 3 nights a week. We'll be racing on Sundays, Mondays, and Fridays. So if you're in here watching the stream and you're not part of the league and you want to be, hit us up. The links to the Discord and our Facebook page are in the description below. We appreciate you tuning in. Again, 3 series. This is the rookie series, so I mean, it is exactly as it says. It's for drivers that are maybe newer to the platform or just newer to oval racing in general. And then we've got Xfinity on Monday, which is essentially our A-tier series at this point. And then we've got A-Trucks as well on Friday nights. So a lot of racing to be had here throughout the week with this group of guys. And we've got a great group of guys here. And I've got to say, Will, I mean, 6 cautions in 30 laps, don't get me wrong, that's a decently high number, but that's a little bit better than I thought it was going to be, at least.
I mean, I was hoping for a little bit better, but again, this is the first race for a lot of these guys. I've actually heard a couple people say this is their very first super speedway race, period. So it's definitely a learning experience for a lot of these guys. And with 40+ drivers out there, it's definitely been interesting.
Yeah,
Looks like the 64 truck got a good jump on the restart there. 22 just didn't go.
Yeah, and I was focused on the, yep, we got one in the grass. Helen Ayers, 94 in the grass, and it looks like he may have just alt F4. Graphics gave up or what, but he disappeared. So green flag racing continues. We had a truck 3 wide in the back. I don't know if he was trying to get a spot back for the restart or what, but nonetheless, a little wild up front. Everybody keeps it clean. We're about staggered 3 wide, but 2 teammates up front in the 52 and the number 4.
Oh, we're getting a little wiggly here on the 4 car. We are definitely 3 wide coming into turn 3 right now. So hopefully these guys can keep it clean and straight.
Yep, 3 wide, 2 rows deep here at Daytona for the first race of the season. Oh boy, we're getting 3 wide all around, and so far so good. Looks like the 28 may be trying to go down below, but 3 wide.
Oh, we got one wrecking right now. Oh, we almost came to that white flag too.
Yep, caution is out, and we've got 164 spinning hard down the back stretch, or the front stretch, excuse me, flipping. That was, man, that was looking so good until it wasn't. Let's actually hop on board here with the number 64. Yeah, he took a little bit of a wild ride there. Oh, just kind of gets into the wall off the exit, and I don't know if that slowed him down enough or what, but he actually doesn't get too bad of it there unless it's switched on board to somebody else. But yeah, I don't know why we're jumping around here like this when that is not the button I clicked, but on board with the 44 here. Just, you see from his point of view, they get low behind him, and he actually, almost clears the 4 car and almost makes it through, but continues to keep it straight. I mean, doesn't look like he's got too much damage, so he may be able to keep it going. And the 52, while he does have some damage on his left rear, he's able to make it through clean. You see the 3 car of Parker Weekly with the same amount of damage almost on the left side as well, but he's running towards the front. I did see KT get involved in that one pretty good here. Looked like he had nowhere to go. We'll do a little bit of rewind action, hop on board with him and see his point of view as we see his front end is all smashed up and torn up here. Oh yeah, it looks like 95. Yeah, just big wreck in front of him, and he's trying to get clear of it, and they just come back up the track as he's coming to the start finish line, and cars wrecking everywhere, not much he could do. He looks to make his way down pit road. We've seen him towards the front of the pack tonight, and I don't believe he's gotten too much damage here, but maybe his fast repair already selected, as we see the truck still have damage on the front end, so we'll see if that's a meatball and if that's required damage, or if he'll be able to make his way back out there. Looks like the 52 of Sean ended up pitting as well. Still has damage on his left rear, so I'm assuming that call there on fuel. We'll see the leaderboard shuffle around here as guys come in and out of pit road here for another attempt at a green-white checkered. And I mean, this field now has been really flipped up on its head. I mean, it's got to be said. I don't really think that there's anybody that's been running consistently up front now after that last wreck. But
yeah, no, that's actually that took out quite a few drivers, including up front drivers. So it was like second or third row back. It took out. We got all new guys up front.
Yeah, but Team Hyperdrive.
I say that, but Sean's right up there too, still in second. So he must have made it through that somehow.
Well, you might want to go back and make sure you're updated to live there, because I'm showing the 34 of Kenan Cook actually in the second place position behind the number 7 and Bryce Tucker. I have Sean scored in 11th here. Looks like he dove down the road potentially.
Yeah, I'm up to date here. I'm not sure why it's not reading out correctly, because you are correct. I'm looking him on screen. He's way back there.
Yeah, you're going off iRacing controls there. It's probably waiting for them to cycle back around towards the start-finish line there. Get everybody's updated position. Lights are off the pace car once again, and we see hyperdrive here. We got 2 drivers in the top 10. We'll see if that continues to hold true, and hopefully for us it does. But nonetheless, Parker Weekly, Justin Nava still looking.
Do you have the you got the clear all for cautions?
Is there black flags
Yeah.
that I need to clear?
Correct.
Okay, we'll see. I don't have it on this one. I should, but that may. There we go.
Thank you.
Not a problem at all. A little bit of race control there behind the scenes, and that's just a little bit of what it takes to get this thing up and running. Well, if one thing holds true, we've gotten closer and closer to the start-finish line these last 2 cautions, so we were almost there at the white
That
flag.
was really close, man. I thought we were going to have it.
Yeah, and if probably would have been a lot more drivers pissed off if we did get to the white flag, because that would have been the end for a lot of guys tonight. It still was, but some of the guys that have been running up front still have an opportunity to make their way. And I've got to say, former teammate in the 34 of Kanan Cook here, starting on the outside row. His truck is a little bit crumpled up, not quite a beer can just yet, but he does have some damage that will affect him. But good to see him up front. He's a driver, I think, that on the super speedways, has earned at least my respect, and he's definitely one to look out for. No slouch there at all. Drivers into the Geico restart zone once again. Green flag out here at Daytona. We'll see if this will be the final time. Cars jockeying for position already, but I think everything is pretty clean up to this point. It looks like everybody's keeping it straight. Still 2 wide. We'll see how early some of these guys will have to make it 3 wide. And as I say that, here we go. A little bit loose on the bottom, the 53 truck, but he's able to keep it straight. So we continue green flag racing. We see Parker Weekly making a run on the outside line here. One in the wall, but they keep it going. We see some shuffling throughout the field. Some guys making some lead positions.
34. Tight. Oh, no. Got right into the 44.
There you go, the 44. And that's going to be in front of the whole field. Yeah, there's another big one there.
Yeah, it looks like the 34 truck might have come down on 44, which I believe is Tim Rourke.
That is correct, and we'll hop on board. We kind of caught the tail end of that one happening there. 3 wide here, and we see Parker Weekly making a move. And I don't know actually what happened here. I mean, it looks like kind of a racing deal, maybe, if anything. It almost kind of looks like the 34 holds his line, and the 44 comes down a little bit there, maybe just trying to stay in the draft of the 11. I think that's exactly what happens. We see the 11 car kind of jump down a little bit, trying to block the run on the 3 truck of Parker Weekly. And Tim just tries to follow and was not clear. And once again, big wreck in the field. Some drivers making it through. It looks like the 52 of Sean Happick was slightly involved, but doesn't look like he made any direct impacts. Just had to get it knocked down in the grass to stay off of everything. So won't be too much harm there for the 52. Yeah, we see him. We'll take a look from his onboard. Sees everything getting in front of him, and you see he reacts pretty early, checks up, and goes to the bottom and narrowly avoids the 34. But again, no harm, no foul. Dives down in the grass, but no major damage there out of the 52. right, as you see, I hop in and try to give these drivers just a few words of encouragement here. And I want to actually go back and take a look at this here. I know I kind of mentioned it as far as the breakdown for the caution, but incredible drive out of the number 3 car in Parker Weekly here off that last restart. Couple rows back, able to make his way towards the front. This is just after the restart here. We'll see him behind the 11 truck of Reed Sanders. Gets through right ahead of him. Slight checkup just to make sure everybody keeps it clean, and just sits in the toe of the 11 truck here and gets a run on that outside line. Again, we mentioned it, the 34 having some damage from some earlier cautions, and he's able to ride that momentum to the outside, and trying to get hooked up with the 11 truck is a little bit wobbly here. Doesn't be able to give him the straightest of pushes, but gets some momentum and dives down to the bottom, and then shortly after the caution comes out there, as we see the 11 try to squeeze him down. But it looks like the number 3 car maybe scored the second place car here, but nonetheless an incredible run from him after that last restart.
Yeah, Parker is right where he wants to be right now. Outside line, front row. He couldn't have a more beautiful position, so I'd watch out for that. That is another hyperdrive driver right there, but let's not count out the rest of these guys. And be honest with you, all these guys up front, the top 7 or 8, we haven't even seen up here pretty much most of the race, so this will be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the 54, Randy Close, we've seen out here a little bit. He's made his way back up to the front, so that's good for him. And Dustin Bloodworth and Sean Happick, they're on the 4th row there, 4th and potentially 5th, depending on how they line up there. And yeah, that's exactly what it looks like here, the 4th and 5th row on the outside. So 2 teammates there lined up on the outside, going to be looking to make their way up there. And again, I mean, I've got to say, barring all the damage of some of these trucks up here, the 28 of Clint Hackett is a driver that in these recruitment races that we've had, he's a driver that's really impressed me, and I'm sure he's going to be looking to be aggressive and make his way back up towards the front as well. And it's got to be said, there's a lot of trucks up here that got some damage. We'll see how that affects not only them, but the line that they run in. 28 truck looks clean, though. The 11 truck, for the most part, if I'm not mistaken, looks pretty clean, as well as the 54. And I think the 3 truck, if he does have any damage, it's probably slight. But I know the 52 does have damage on his left quarter panel, so we'll see how that affects his run here with the 4 of Dustin Bloodworth. As we see 53 truck of Chris Winokur, he's been involved in some calamity tonight. But as we see here, the rear end is about as straight as a circle, but he's still running up front, so good for him. Lights off the pace car once again. Another attempt to add a green light checker. See a couple of cars tail on this back. Get caught up here before we go green. Green flag back out at Daytona. It looks like the 11 of Reed Sanders gets a great jump.
Yeah, huge jump. But that could be a problem, to be honest with you. You get a huge jump here on these super speedways. You got nobody in behind you. You can you're gonna end up getting freight trained real quick.
Absolutely. But as we say that, it looks like some cars actually elect to hop down into that bottom row. And Parker Weekly left with no help. We're seeing aggressive look by the 28 of Clint Hackett makes his way towards the front row, and still no help for the 11 on the bottom row there. We got 3 cars hooked up on the top, and once again, Parker getting hung out to dry, finally makes his way towards the front and doesn't have any help at this moment, but we'll see if any cars elect to hop behind him and follow, as we see the 4 truck of Dustin Bloodworth trying to suck up to his rear bumper, and see a little bit of a gap to the cars behind, but the 22 gaining some momentum, trying to get to the rear bumper. We could potentially have a 3v3 getting to the line here. Dustin Bloodworth actually looking to take it 3 wide. That's going to actually hurt him in this moment. White flag, so when the yellow comes out, if it does, this will be it. Well, they'll actually be racing back towards the line. We see the 28 of Clint Hackett leading this line so far. The 11 of Reed Sanders makes a jump up to the outside, looking to gain any momentum he can. Got a strong truck there in the 3 car of Parker Weekly behind him. they're wrecking in the back, but we stay green flag racing, and that is the caution. It looks like this is the, I don't know if the caution flag is out or not, but nonetheless, they're still racing hard. This will be official. Looks like we've got a 2v4 right now from the outside to the bottom. A little bit of movement on the bottom lane, but they keep it straight. Oh, big wreck in the 11 of Reed Sanders gets hooked, and they're still wrecking. The 52 doing barrel rolls, shades of Mike. It looks like the 28 of Clint Hackett is going to win this race. And Randy Post and Randy Cornwell rounding out your top three there, your podium spots. All drivers that we've seen up front all night, so at least congratulations to them. Justin Woodworth and Parker Weekly with a solid run there, rounding out your top five. Justin Aubrey with an 8th place finish as well, starting from the back and able to keep it clean. So a top 10 finish here at Daytona, not a bad finish at all. Again, as we see on the left, your unofficial results here from the duel at Daytona.
Yeah, it looks like, well, officially we were supposed to have 30 laps, but I think we got 44 in at that point, so 14 extra laps. We had, I believe, what looks like 16 cars on the lead lap. That means, well, there was 41 in this, so 25 cars were a lap down.
Yeah, and we are on board here with Clint Hackett. Let's see if we can't get him up in the booth here for a little post-race interview and talk to him. Hey, Clint, this is Bryce up here in the booth. You got a copy, man?
Hey, Bryce.
Well, it's got to be said, a relatively quiet night for you for most of the run there, but able to make your way up. I mean, we see it here on the relative, up 34 spots and able to finish in the first place spot with some caution and some wrecking there behind you. But, I mean, how were you able to get towards the front and complete this race, man?
Patience, really. Daytona is a beast, and just by what I've learned in past and stuff, it's best to take your time here. Don't rush nothing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, so it worked out. We got into some accidents. Thankful for that fast repair. Sorry, I'm trying to get my car fixed up here. Thankful for that fast repair there at the end. That's what really saved us, because we were really hurt there at the very end. We got it repaired up, and Randy Post really helped us out on that push. Big ups to him. But yeah, good stuff. Glad to have the 28 log hog logging truck here in Victory Lane again. It's awesome.
Absolutely, man, and it's going to be exciting to watch you start from the pole position in our first initial points race for the season. And I know you gave a shout out there to Randy Post for the push there towards the end, but is there anybody else you want to thank before we let you go?
Just thank my wife for letting me do this, my kids for allowing me to do this, and having fun. Thank you guys so much, HVRL. Thank you and the admin for all y'all do, and hopefully I'm very new to this league, so I'm hoping to meet some new people, have some fun, and do some racing.
Absolutely, man. Well, making your mark here in your season debut in High Velocity Racing League. Again, congratulations to you, and we'll look forward to seeing you start on the first row for the next race.
All right, thank you.
All right, and another solid finish here. We've got the number 54 of Randy Post joining in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy.
Well, I mean, kind of the same thing I said about Clint there. I mean, we saw you towards the front for a majority of the race. Got involved in some stuff, as it looks like just about everybody did. But, I mean, again, a truck that was up front all night. I mean, anything that you can think to attribute to that? Or, I mean, what kept you up front?
Yeah, I was up front, and I thought I had more fuel than I did originally, and I got a speeding penalty on our green flag stop, and then put me a lap down, and I rode around. I got my lap back like one lap before the white flag, and I was able to just weave around, and I told Clint I was going to be with him no matter what, so I pushed him to the win, and I'm glad him and I are going to start up front next week.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some great teamwork there, even if it's unofficial. I mean, you guys were hooked up there and were really making a hard charge there. And I mean, I got to ask you, because I'm sure if I was in your position, I'd be thinking the same thing. How important was it, or how nervous were you to see that white flag come out coming towards the front stretch? Because we saw that last caution, just a caution prior. I mean, that came out just before you guys crossed the line. So
Yeah,
how hard were you
me,
paying for that?
me and Clint were just talking, and I said, "Dude, it's ours, it's ours." And we crossed the line, and I was like, "I'll keep everybody off of us." I said, "It's you're gonna win. Like, I got this." So we were pretty nervous. It was gonna go caution again.
Absolutely. Well, great job there again. You ran up front all night. Before we let you go, is there anybody you want to thank before we let you on out of here?
I know a lot of guys aren't watching, but my momentism sim sports, Ashton Mueller and all them. I'm more of a dirt guy, and we've got a couple guys running pro series right now, and this is just something fun for me to do, and so all them guys.
Absolutely. Well, man, congratulations on your first podium and making your mark here on the season. And as you mentioned, we'll be looking forward to seeing you start on the first row here next week.
All right, thanks, guys.
Not a problem at all. And as we go from Randy Post here to Randy Cornwell, we got two Randys up here on the podium. You got a copy?
Yeah, man, I got you.
Well, first and foremost, man, congratulations on a solid finish here. We saw a lot of chaos tonight, but you were another truck that was able to stay up front for a majority of the race. I mean, is there anything you can attribute to making that possible?
Sheer luck.
Well, yeah. I mean, definitely a lot of drivers that could have used a little bit more of that tonight. I mean, you were able to stay up front. I mean, you had some solid pushing, and you know, I know you were trying to help your teammate there in KT McCann before he got caught up in the inevitable big one of many. But I mean, it's got to be said, another solid run. You know, we were talking about it at the top of the broadcast. We had that race last week or whenever it was, and we saw that you and KT were working pretty well together. So we were, or excuse me, you were definitely a name that we were talking about there at the top of the broadcast. And I'm glad you're able to get it done, man. You're going to be starting on the second row on the inside line for next week. How important do you think that's going to be after seeing what took place tonight?
I honestly don't know. The wrecks were in the front, they were in the back. It's just super speedway racing, man. You just find somewhere to ride and hope for some luck.
Absolutely. Well, again, man, congratulations. Before we let you go, is there anybody you want to thank before we get you on out of here?
Yeah, I just want to thank you guys for putting the league on, letting us race here, providing us the opportunity to race. Thanks for the broadcast and everything y'all do. Thanks for all the admins throughout this race. There was a lot for y'all to deal with and handle. You do a pretty good job with what you have to work with there, and just hope the league continues to grow and these races maybe settle down a little bit as we go.
Absolutely. Well, again, congratulations, man. We'll see you starting on the inside line in the second row for next week's race, and congratulations once again.
Thanks, man. Thanks for all y'all do.
Not a problem. Well, there we have it. The first race of season 2 in the High Velocity Racing League. About as we imagined. Again, we hoped it would have went a little bit cleaner than it did, but nonetheless, we got through it, and a lot of guys making their names stamped here in the High Velocity Racing League. I mean, what are your closing thoughts before we get on out?
Just like pretty much the top three said, it is super speedway racing. Again, I want to emphasize we had 40 some drivers in this race. That is the most I've ever seen on a super speedway in iRacing. So, and to top it off, probably about 3/4 of these guys are considered rookies, but hopefully they got a decent amount of laps in here to learn from each other enough to where next week's race will be a lot cleaner, a lot more laps to do for sure. I mean, a lot more on the line as well. I mean, this wasn't even a points race. This is a lineup race. So next week will be points, and I'm hoping everybody realizes that and kind of cleans it up and takes it easy a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, as you said, a lot of drivers tonight are new to the platform and new to over racing and newer to the platform in general. So, you know, for what we were able to accomplish tonight, all in all, I'm not too upset about it. We definitely saw our share of chaos tonight, but we got through it. And just when you guys thought it was over, we're actually going to be back here tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time for the Duels and the Xfinity cars. And not as big of a field as we had here tonight, but nonetheless, should be a lot of clean racing. And once we get done tomorrow, we'll be doing the same thing again at 7 p.m. Eastern on Friday night with some more trucks, but this time it'll be our A-Series trucks, and there's going to be money on the line for those two series, so the stakes are going to be a little bit higher. The racing should hopefully be a little bit cleaner, but other than that, I'm Bryce. This has been Will. We've been hosting the broadcast tonight. Again, thank you for everyone for coming out. We had, I think, almost close to 30 people in here tonight while we were live, so that's awesome to see. We hope that number continues to grow and that you guys continue to be a part of us. Again, I've got links in the description below to our Discord and our Facebook, so if this is action that you guys want to get in on, you're more than welcome to, and we will see you guys in less than 24 hours for some more racing. Again, this has been Bryce and Will up in the booth. We appreciate you for coming in, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Peace out, and thanks for joining.